Yeah, I know you have a great saying. If you fix 0 to 12 in America, you fix everything. I'm going to ask now, and again, one of my big rules of news is to never ever ignore the elephant in the room. And here's the elephant in the room that I think all of us here in this country, and probably every country, need to come to grips with. I think that a lot of people are ignoring the reality. We talk about this in society. We talked about government. We've talked about the unions, but parents too. When we talk about school, are we really talking about school to educate our kids, or is it really more like babysitting? In other words, is that really the goal? The goal that we put our kids somewhere, we hope they'll be safe, we hope they pick up a few skills or two, but we need them to go somewhere so that we can go work or that we can do our other things. I mean, to me, I think this is something that we need to admit to ourselves as people, not only in this country, but every country. Are we looking at school too much like a babysitting situation? And maybe that's why we're okay with them sitting behind a desk. Maybe that's why we're okay with them not necessarily picking up a viable skill and really thriving. I mean, again, it's not to indict everybody, but unless we come to grips with that reality and say, hey, we have a tendency to maybe want this, we're not going to fix things.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And I've no doubt, Jake, that there are people out there, of course, in society that see education as a babysitting service. I mean, you see these poor educators. I mean, what's happening in classrooms? Whoever thought it was a good idea to have phones in classrooms? Probably the same group of people that thought it was a good idea to have Google Chromebooks in every kindergarten class. These things just don't belong in school. You need to have schools that are well equipped and able to handle and focus in on children in the best possible way. To do that, you need pedagogical science, right? We operate our schools in a very top-down approach, and children are feeling disrespected and they're feeling scared, particularly at this 0 to 12 age. And if you don't catch this at 0 to 12, then by the time they become teenagers, it becomes a much more difficult situation to handle. But I would say, Jake, that the majority of parents, for me at least, in my 12 years of doing this, they just don't know. They just don't know. They don't know why desks are so harmful. They don't know what the best thing for their child is when it comes to reading or learning math, or why the 1 hour recess is so important. And I've really made it my life's mission, as you know, having known me for so long, to get that information out. The problem with pedagogical science is that it's a science full of scientists, and they talk amongst themselves. And what I wanted to do always is break that barrier and start communicating with parents and communities and public leaders to say, listen, this is real. This is what children need from 0 to 12 especially. This is what educators need. Here's the science behind it. And here's how we can make this better for both parents and children. The fact of the matter is parents do need to go to work. And that's why, as much as I love homeschooling, the vast majority of Americans won't be able to do that. We need to create an entirely new school system like we've done with so many other things in medicine and communication, et cetera.
Thank you. Well, anyway, the best part of getting rid of all the desks is that it'll get rid of the cool row, because I was never in it. Mimosa Jones-Sunny, thanks for joining us. Remember, the Schoolhouse, American Emergent Curriculum, all that stuff, you can look that up. Mimosa Jones-Sunny, very easy to find on Google, by the way. That's what you get when you have a great and unique name. Thank you so much for joining us.